It was the kind of summer's afternoon that, on the surface, promised nothing more remarkable than the usual charm of the Welsh countryside. On the 22nd of July 1975, the P family, holidaying in mid-Wales, were in Dale near Machynlleth. The day's business was a simple one: to view a cottage along the A487. Among them was Trevor, aged 14, restless and curious, and at that age when the surrounding landscape offers an irresistible invitation to explore. He wandered from the roadside and began climbing a 250-foot hill to the south, a modest rise, but enough to command a view of the valley. And it was on reaching the brow that he saw it. Some 50 feet away, resting upon the ground, stood an object unlike anything his young mind could place. He reacted instinctively, diving behind one of the many ancient boulders that littered the slope, peering just enough to observe. The craft's base was large, circular and low, 40 feet across and 7 or 8 feet in height. Around its circumference were enormous circular lights, each 5 feet across. They glowed with a brilliance impossible to name, not red or blue, or not any colour in between really, something else entirely. Between each light, deep curves and grooves were cut into the silvery surface, and the edges of the base were smoothly rounded, as though sculpted for both beauty and function. Above this sat a transparent hemispherical dome, inset into the base. At its apex, another light, 5 feet across, just like those below, and it shone from within the dome itself, subtly refracting in the curved glass-like surface. The dome was smaller than the base by perhaps 9 feet, and beneath it, the very centre, sat a large metallic unit, irregular in form, at about 15 feet long and 7 feet high at its tallest. It gleamed silver, without any visible controls or markings. But it wasn't the craft's architecture that really caught Trevor's gaze. Inside the dome were 2 entities. They didn't walk, they didn't stand, they didn't seem to conform to any familiar biological shape. Each was a mass of translucent white, the sort of jellyfish-like, magnified on a monstrous scale, 7 feet across easily, and the same in height. Their shapes shifted and pulsed, never quite holding a form for more than a moment. Suspended within each mass were hundreds of small white discs, each about 6 inches across, donut-shaped, unmoving at their own centres, but in constant motion around the periphery. The effect was hypnotic, a little bit mechanical, and disturbingly organic. One of these gelatinous forms was in front of a metal unit, the other was partly obscured behind it. Trevor remained hidden for 20 seconds or more, his mind locked between absolute fascination and complete terror. Then something moved. On the right-hand side of the base, a square panel, some 7 feet each way, began to pivot downwards, slowly, deliberately. The nearer of the 2 entities drifted toward it. Trevor realized with mounting disbelief that it was floating, as if it was buoyed by invisible currents. It descended through what appeared to be a duct or a hatchway beneath the craft, and then it was gone. That was the moment when instinct finally overcame curiosity, and Trevor turned and ran over the ridge, down the slope, and blurted something to his father, words he could never later recall, before, for reasons he couldn't explain, he ran back up the hill to have another look. The scene had changed. The entity was back in position inside the dome, and the panel was closed. From the craft came a low, constant noise, like a car engine revving softly, but without the vibration. And then in an instant the lights along the base and then at the dome's apex began to change. Their surfaces flickered in rapid, synchronized bursts. The colours shifted, blending, matching the greens and the greys and the browns of the surrounding hillside. Faster and faster the changes came until the entire object merged perfectly into the landscape, and then it was gone. It didn't fly away. It merely disappeared. When Trevor's father later recounted the moment, he recalled his son returning the first time, saying urgently, "You won't believe me, come on." And when he came down the second time, he was visibly shaken and he shouted, "A jelly man got out of it." At the sight, the only thing that Trevor's father noticed was a strange sound, produced as if the wind moved through the grass in a weird, half-hidden sort of way. In the days that followed, the encounter's strangeness deepened. The very next day, Trevor's speech faltered. Words became difficult to form. Weeks later, blindness struck his left eye and then shifted inexplicably to the right, and for a time he became almost totally blind before it quickly receded. His personality altered in ways that concerned those around him, and by mid-1978 he was under psychiatric care. In March of that year, the family was interviewed by investigators, including a trained psychologist and hypnotist. The boy's account never wavered. There had been a craft on the hillside above Machynlleth, and inside there had been two beings of shifting jelly form, and for 20-odd seconds he'd watched them. Now, in the annals of British close encounters, these jelly entities really do stand apart. They're not humanoid, they're not machines. Neither are they clearly biological nor wholly artificial. Perhaps they were alive. Perhaps they were constructs animated by forces beyond our present comprehension. Whatever their nature happened to be, they came and went in the quiet of the hills of mid-Wales that summer, leaving no trace but a boy's drastically altered life, and a mystery that, honestly, defies even categorization. Introducing the Eeries Vault Patreon page, a treasure trove of research notes, newspaper and magazine clippings, exclusive on-location video content, early access to public videos, and access to the Eerie Isles interactive Google map with countless sighting and encounter locations for you to peruse at your leisure. This will be updated each time a new video is released and will become one of the most comprehensive encounters maps in the world. With membership options from as little as £1 per month. What are you waiting for? Head over to the Vault. Eerie's Vault Live is a live stream show here on YouTube where you, the viewer, can have a call about your own stories about the weird, the paranormal and the unexplained. The show starts at 9 PM GMT every Friday night, and we want to hear your stories. You can also email your stories ahead of the show to be read out live on air. Just send an email to eeriesvault@gmail.com with your story, opinion, or suggestions relating to high strangeness and the unexplained. That's Eerie's Vault Live, Fridays at 9 PM GMT, here on YouTube.